In this video, we're going to look at basic commands in Excel for data cleaning. And this data set was downloaded from Kaggle.com. The link is down, and the data set is about movies. So first of all, let's see the first activity there is auto-fitting rows and columns. And here we have the command here. This is under the general, and it involves data structuring and organization. And this is how to go about it. So to do auto-fitting, all we need to do is select the entire data set. So I have it all selected. Thankfully, it's not a very large data set. And then I come over to Format, and then I do auto-fit row height. So look at row 12. I'm going to adjust the height by doing auto-fit row height, and you see it has been adjusted. It is still selected. I go to Format, and I do auto-fit column width, and there you go. So we have all the columns adjusted so that they can fit the data that is within them. So cell column C is quite wide because it has a lot of text content there. So I'm just going to reduce this and just leave my data set like this. So that's the first item there, auto-fitting rows and columns. The second is the basic right click, either to copy, protect, rename, and format. And so here, I'm just trying to say that one of the basic tools that is available in Microsoft Excel and other Microsoft features is right clicking. So for example, you come over here to the data sheet, and if you want to make a copy of it, just come over and then right click. So when you right click, you see the options. You can move or copy. Let's say we want to go take it to the end, and then we create a copy, and there we have it. Okay, so this is the original. Let me rename this as original. Okay, so I can even right click as well. So right click, rename, and it's original. Let me call this original data, original underscore data, and then I come over here and then right click, rename, and I'm just going to call this working data. So we see how important it is. Whenever you are stuck, just right click and you will likely get options. So I can right click here and color this green. I can come over here, right click this and color this. Yes, so we know that Excel has, the ribbon, and it has all the tabs and commands that you can use, but a lot of times when you just right click, you have a shortcut to a command that you can use. So I can come to the original data and also still right click and protect the sheet. So I can give it a password and protect the sheet so that only selection of the cells is permitted. So I have the original sheet preserved. Okay, so that's our second command there, and we go to the third, and the third has to do with this cell structure. And what we just want to say here is that there is a cell structure for Excel documents. So first of all, you have the Excel file stored in a folder, and then when you go to the folder, you can open the file, and when you open the file, then you have a sheet. For example, we have the working data sheet, we have the guide sheet, we have guide sheets, and then we have the original data sheet. So down to the working data sheet, and then within the sheet we have the data sets. So you have to understand, okay, this is our data set within the sheet, and then within that data set we have rows, columns, and ranges. So you need to understand how this works in Excel. So we have the columns. We have column A to column I for these data sets, and the columns are arranged from top to down, and then the rows are arranged from left to right, and we start from row 1. So the columns are labeled alphabetically while the rows are labeled numerically. And then furthermore, we can also have ranges. So when we select a particular group, so say we select something like this, we have a range that starts from B6 and ends at G22. So that's a range that combines columns and rows selection. And then we also have cells. Okay, so we have a cell. So for example, this is cell C3, this is cell A2, this is cell A1. A cell is formed when you intersect a column and a row. And then we have the content. Yes, so the cells have content. So for example, this is cell B4. So I'm currently highlighting cell B4, and the content is no exit. And then further, let's see, this is cell B12 and the content is jumper, and then we can see that it also has a format. So it is italicized, it has a yellow background, and the font is Aptos Narrow. Those are all formats around this B12. Remember, the content is jumper. And it's also possible to have formulas as well as a hidden layer behind the cell. If a cell has a formula, you're going to see it in the formula bar here and not the content. So this is the formula bar. All right, so let's go to the next. Next is copy and paste. Okay, so when you are copying and pasting, make sure you do it um, in such a way that you don't copy the extra content that is behind the cell. So we're going to see something about that. And let me take column B and let me try and do some editing there. So I'm going to come over to column C and then create a blank column here. And then I'm going to jump a bit just to demonstrate what I'm just showing now. So let me jump all the way to this queue here, formulas for text, trim and clean. So what's going to happen is I'm going to come over and I want to do to use the trim and clean function on column B so that I can trim off the extra spaces. For example, on B3 here, trim off this extra space. I'm going to come over here now. I've created a new column for that, and then I'm going to use the trim function. So I'm using the trim function. So you will just type equal to and type the function name, which is trim, and then open the bracket, and then I click on B2 here, and then I close it. And so I've done the trim, and then I can drag this down to apply it across the column. And so I've done that. So you can see that the extra space on this B3 here, the Batman, has gone off over here. Now, this is what I mean by copy and paste. I'm going to now copy this. So I highlight everything and then I can do Control C, that's fine. And then I want to replace it here. But when coming over here, I'm not going to do Control V. So I have to come over to this paste command here and I'm just going to paste the values. And so that's what it means to be careful when you do your copy and paste in Excel, especially when you're doing data cleaning. And so I've just deleted column C. I've applied trim on this. Okay, so next up we have format as table. And we're going to take our data set and format it as a table. So I need to select the entire data set. I can do Control A and the entire data set is selected after I've clicked on one of the cells within, and then I'm going to come over to format as table in the home tab, format as table command, and then it's showing me the range, which is what I want, from A1 to I76, and I select my table has headers and I click on OK, and I've formatted it as a table. This is what my data set looks like now as a table. The table provides filter features. It has nice presentation with the coloring and all of that. And then I have this table menu here where I can do my total rows and do inspection on the numeric columns, find the average, you see, find the maximum. All these are features that come with the table. So let me take off the total rows. We see the advantage of the table. Next is column inspection. And here we're going to select each column and then we would check the data types. So let's go column by column. This is the first column and this should be a date, but it's general. So I can come over, right click, format cells and format it as a date. And I click on OK. And so we have that there. And then the next is general. This is title, that's fine. This is, so every time we're looking over here to check it, that's general. And then this should be a number, but here it's formatted as general. So I'm going to right click, format cells, go to number, leave it at 2 decimals, put the comma separator, and I have it there. And then the vote count as well. So I can use the filter to check what the typical values are and whether it has decimals. It doesn't have decimal. Okay, so I'm just going to right click, format cells, number, and then take off the decimals, put the comma separator, click on OK. Similarly, I have this. This one has 1 decimal, so I'm just going to maintain it that way, convert it to a number, put the comma separator, click on OK, and this is general, that's fine, this is general, that's fine, and this is general, that's fine. So that's a column inspection. You inspect the columns, check the data types, and also scroll through and then check the values and also use the filters and ensure that um, you have valid entries, and then you can also take note of any issues in the data set. So for example, I'm seeing some unwanted characters here, and maybe I can just handle that immediately. So I've seen that, so I can unselect everything and just select the one I've seen, click on OK, and okay, this is the way I see it. So I'm going to take up this character here and just have it like this. Now you always have to be sure about whatever corrections you are doing. So I'm pretty okay with what I've done now. If you're not too sure, then you have to take note and ensure that what you do doesn't alter the data significantly.